Your cat already knows. Before you know. Before the vet tells you. Before any test or scan or diagnosis. Your cat already knows that their time with you is coming to an end. And in those final days and weeks, they do something that most owners only understand in hindsight. Something so quiet and so gentle and so completely full of love that it breaks your heart to think about. They say goodbye, not in words, not in any way that announces itself, but in small, deliberate, heartbreakingly beautiful ways that are so easy to miss if you do not know what you are looking for. And I want to talk about this today, not to make you sad, but because I believe that every cat owner deserves to know. Every person who has ever loved a cat deserves to understand what those final days and weeks and months actually mean. What your cat was actually doing, what they were actually saying. Because here is what I know. Cats who are nearing the end of their lives do not disappear emotionally. They do not become absent or checked out or gone before they are gone. In many ways, they become more present, more intentional, more focused on the people they love than they have ever been before. They are saying goodbye, and they are doing it with everything they have. If you have lost a cat and you are watching this, I want you to know that this video might bring up feelings, real ones, deep ones, and that is okay. Because what your cat did in those final days was real, and it deserves to be understood and honored and felt completely. And if your cat is still with you, young and healthy and curled up somewhere nearby right now, I want you to watch this too. Because understanding this will make every ordinary day with your cat feel like the gift that it actually is. This is how cats say goodbye. And it is one of the most profound things I have ever learned about the creatures who share our lives and our homes and our hearts. Stay with me all the way through, because the last thing I share with you today is the one that will stay with you forever. I promise you that, hey, welcome. And I want to say this gently before we begin. This video is not meant to be painful. It is meant to be illuminating. It is meant to take something that so many cat owners have experienced without fully understanding and give it the meaning and the language it deserves. Because here is what happens so often. A cat owner loses their cat, and weeks or months later they start remembering things. Little things their cat did in the final weeks, a specific look, a behavior that was different, a moment of closeness that felt unusual. And they think, I wonder if that meant something. I wonder if they were trying to tell me something. I wonder if I missed it. You did not miss it. You were living it. Or you just did not have the language for it yet. Today I am going to give you that language. I am going to walk you through the specific ways that cats communicate in their final chapter. The behaviors that veterinarians and animal behaviorists and people who have loved and lost cats have observed and documented and carried with them. This is not a clinical video. This is not a list of symptoms or medical warnings. This is about love, about what love looks like at the end. About the ways a cat who cannot say the words finds every other possible way to say them anyway. Let us talk about all of it, starting right now. They seek you out more than ever. You have probably heard the opposite of this. You have probably heard that cats go away to be alone when they are dying, that they hide, that they disappear. And while that can be true of cats in the wild whose instinct is to conceal vulnerability from predators, what happens with deeply bonded domestic cats is often something completely different. They come closer. They seek you out with an urgency and a consistency that feels different from their normal behavior. They find you in whatever room you are in. They follow you more closely than they ever have. They climb onto your lap when they never used to. They press against you when you are sleeping. They want to be near you in a way that feels somehow more deliberate, more intentional, more focused than their usual affection. And there is a reason for this that goes far beyond simple comfort. Seeking animal behavior researchers who study end-of-life behavior in domestic cats have observed that cats with strong owner bonds often show significantly increased proximity, seeking in their final weeks and months. They are not just looking for warmth. They are not just uncomfortable and seeking relief. They are spending time with the person who matters most to them. They are choosing consciously and deliberately to be near you. Because somewhere in their deep animal wisdom they understand that this time is precious and finite, and they want to use every moment of it being exactly where they most want to be. With you. Think about what that means. Your cat, in their final chapter, looked at everything available to them and chose you. Chose your presence over every comfortable spot, every warm corner, every quiet hiding place. They wanted you, specifically, completely. If your cat has ever gone through this and you remember those weeks of them suddenly being more present, more Velcro to you than usual, know that they were not just sick and seeking comfort in a general sense. They were spending their remaining time with the person they loved most in the world. They were choosing you for every moment they had left. And if you are going through this right now, if your cat is suddenly seeking you out more than usual, let them. Clear your lap. Stay still. Give them every moment they are asking for, because those moments are a gift. In both directions, they purr differently. Most people know that cats purr when they are happy and content, when you stroke them in exactly the right spot, when they are warm and comfortable and settled. That familiar rumbling vibration that has been called one of the most comforting sounds in the entire world. But here is something that most people do not know. Cats also purr when they are in pain, when they are frightened, when they are unwell, and when they are at the very end of their life. The purr is not only an expression of happiness, it is a self-soothing mechanism, a physiological response that cats use to regulate their own nervous system during times of stress and discomfort. The vibration of a purr falls within a frequency range that has been scientifically shown to promote healing, reduce inflammation, and lower stress hormones in the body. Your cat purrs because it makes them feel better, physically and emotionally at the same time. But in the final weeks of a cat's life, something about the purr can change. Owners who have been through this describe it differently from anything that came before. Deeper, slower, more continuous, less triggered by specific pleasures and more like a constant presence, a steady undercurrent that seems less about happiness and more about something else entirely. Some describe it as a settling purr, as if the cat has made peace with something and the purr is simply the sound of that peace living in their body. And then there is the purr that happens when your cat is in your arms or pressed against your chest in those final days. That purr is something else again. Vets who specialize in end-of-life care describe it as a communication purr, a way of staying in contact, of maintaining connection, of saying without any words at all, I am still here. I can still feel you. This still matters to me. Your cat cannot tell you what they are feeling in those final weeks. They cannot put words to the experience of knowing that their time is ending, but they can purr against your chest. They can fill the silence between you with that vibration. They can let you feel them still present and still warm and still there. Do not try to interpret that purr as distress or discomfort in those quiet moments. Sit with it. Let it wash over you. Because that purr is your cat being as close to you as they know how to be in the only language their body has left. They look at you differently. This is the one that cat owners talk about most when they describe the final weeks with their cats. The look. A specific, particular, unmistakable look that feels completely different from any look that came before it. Not the slow blink of everyday contentment. Not the alert, focused look of a cat watching movement across the room. Something else entirely. Something that owners consistently describe with the same words over and over and over again. Across every culture and every language and every experience. Like they were really seeing me. Like they were looking at me and I was the only thing in the world. Like they wanted to memorize my face. Cats in their final weeks often engage in prolonged, direct, deeply focused eye contact with their primary person. They stare. Not the threatening stare of an uncomfortable cat. The soft, wide, completely open stare of a creature who is taking something in. Who is present in a way that feels absolute and total and unlike anything before. Animal behaviorists describe this as a form of hyper-attunement. In their final chapter, deeply bonded cats sometimes shift their attention almost entirely onto their primary person. The world outside becomes less interesting, less important. The sounds and smells and movements that would normally pull their attention away no longer matter. Only you hold their gaze, and if you have experienced this, you already know that it is one of the most extraordinary things you will ever feel from another living creature, to be looked at like that, with that completeness, that total focused presence directed entirely at you. Your cat is memorizing you, taking you in. Every detail of your face and your voice and your smell and your warmth, they are being completely, entirely, wholly present with you in a way that ordinary life does not always allow for. They are looking at you the way you look at something you love more than anything when you know that time with it is coming to an end. When it happens, look back, be completely present. Let them see you seeing them, because that exchange, that quiet looking at each other with nothing held back, is a form of love so pure and so complete that very few words in any language come close to describing it. They revisit their favorite places. In the final weeks of a cat's life, owners often notice something both beautiful and quietly heartbreaking happening. Their cat begins making rounds, moving through the house with a kind of slow and gentle purpose, visiting spots they have not been to in a while, lying in the patch of sunlight by the kitchen window they used to love, climbing up to the shelf they spent years sleeping on, settling in the chair by the door where they used to wait for you to come home every single evening. It looks, to human eyes, like nostalgia, And maybe in whatever way a cat experiences something that resembles nostalgia, that is exactly what it is. Cats are deeply connected to their environments. Their home is not just a physical space to them, it is a landscape of memories and associations and deep comfort. Every spot in your home holds something for your cat. The place where they first felt safe, the window where they watched the world go by, the corner where they slept through 100 quiet golden afternoons. And in their final chapter, many cats seem drawn back to those places, as if they are making peace with each one, as if they are moving slowly through the entire map of their life and pausing at each significant point to simply be there one more time. Veterinarians and animal behaviorists who specialize in end-of-life care have observed this behavior consistently enough to give it serious attention. And while we cannot know exactly what is happening in a cat's mind and heart during these gentle rounds, the behavior is real and it is documented and it carries a weight and a meaning that deserves to be honored. Your cat is not just moving through space. They are moving through their life, through the geography of everything that ever mattered to them. Every warm spot and every beloved window and every place that ever made them feel exactly right in the world. And almost always, at the end of these rounds, they come back to you. Because you are on the map too. You are, in fact, the most important point on the entire map of their life. And when they have visited everything else and sat with everything else, they come back to the thing that mattered most. They come back to you. If your cat is doing this right now, let them move freely. Let them make their rounds. Let them visit every place that was ever important to them. And when they come back to you, as they will, hold them gently and know what that return means. They have seen everything they wanted to see, and they chose to end up exactly here, with you. They groom you one last time. We have talked before on this channel about what it means when a cat grooms you, how it is one of the most intimate expressions of bonding that exists in the entire cat world, how cats only groom the creatures they are most deeply attached to, how it is an act of love and family and belonging that is reserved for the absolute inner circle. But there is a specific dimension of grooming that happens in the end-of-life period that carries a weight and a meaning that goes beyond all ordinary affection. Owners describe moments in their cat's final days where their cat, despite being tired and weak and clearly not feeling well, makes the deliberate effort to lick their hand, their face, their arm, with the same careful, slow strokes that cats use when they groom each other. Long and patient and complete. It takes energy to groom. Real energy that a sick or elderly cat may not have very much of left, and yet they spend it on you. This is not random comfort behavior. Vets and animal behavior specialists who work with cats at end of life describe this final grooming as one of the most intentional behaviors they observe in the final chapter. The cat is doing something that requires effort and focus. They are choosing to spend their limited and precious remaining energy on an act of deep connection with the person they love most in the world. They are doing what cats do for their most beloved. They are caring for you. They are marking you with their scent one last time. They are saying in the most physical and direct language they have, "You are mine. You have always been mine. And I want to leave you knowing that." It is also, in a way that is almost too beautiful and too painful to hold at the same time, a blessing, a final tender act of love directed entirely at you. If your cat has done this to you in their final days and you are remembering it right now, know that it was completely intentional. Your cat looked at their remaining energy and made a choice about how to spend some of it. They chose you. They chose this act of love. They chose to leave you with the feeling of being cared for and seen and completely loved. There is no higher gift that a cat can give. I want to take just one moment here. If this video is bringing up memories of a cat you have loved and lost, I want you to know that what you are feeling right now is love. The same love your cat had for you. It does not go away just because they are gone. It lives in you. And I hope this video is helping you understand what those final days were really saying. If it is helping you, please hit the like button right now. It helps this video reach more people who need to hear this. And subscribe so you never miss a video. For now, let us keep going, because the last two things I want to share with you are the most important of all. They forgive everything. This is the one that makes people cry the most. And I want to share it as gently as I possibly can. Cat owners who have been through the end of life experience with their cats often describe a softening that happens in those final weeks, a gentleness that was not always there before. A cat who was sometimes difficult or particular or defensive about being touched suddenly becomes completely open, easy, soft in a way that feels new and different and profound. A cat who would sometimes swipe, if you pick them up in a certain way, now lets you hold them however feels right to you. A cat who had their strong preferences and their clear boundaries and their established routines now seems to have released all of that. They are just present, just there, just completely and entirely yours. And owners describe feeling in those moments of unexpected openness something they can only call forgiveness, as if every small frustration, every accidental disturbance, every moment of not quite understanding each other across the barrier of two different species had simply been released, let go, forgiven completely. There is a physiological explanation for some of this behavioral change. As cats near the end of their lives, the energy they would normally spend on self-protection and preference maintenance becomes less available to them. Their nervous systems grow quieter, their defenses soften naturally. But beyond the physiology, there is something else happening. Something that the science does not fully capture, but that thousands of cat owners across the world have described in almost exactly the same way. A kind of grace, a kind of unconditional presence that feels unlike anything that came before it. Your cat in their final chapter is not holding anything back. They are not conserving anything for later, because they understand in whatever way cats understand that there is no later to conserve for. Everything they have is right here and right now and with you. All of it, without any reservation whatsoever. That is a kind of love that is almost impossible to fully describe. A love that has dropped every defense and every condition and every preference and is simply, completely, entirely present with you. And if you feel like you did not always get it right, if you feel like there were moments you wish you could go back and redo, let this be your answer. Your cat forgave you, long before the end came. They chose you every single day, knowing everything about you, every impatient moment and every time you were too busy and every mistake you made, and they chose you anyway. Every single day they chose you anyway. All the way to the end. This is the last thing I want to share with you, and it is the hardest to talk about. Oh, but it is also the most important. And I think you need to hear it. People who have been with their cats at the very end, who have held them or sat beside them in those final moments, almost universally describe the same experience. A look, a specific, direct, completely clear look that happens when almost everything else is already gone. It is not a look of pain. It is not a look of fear. People are always surprised by that. They expect those final eyes to be full of distress and struggle. But what they describe over and over again, across every country and every language and every kind of person who has ever loved a cat all the way to the end, is something completely different. Peace, clarity, complete and total presence. And then in those last moments, their cat looks at them. Directly, fully, with those eyes that have looked at them 10,000 times before across years and years of shared life. And there is something in that look that every single person who has ever received it describes in the same way. Thank you. I love you. It is okay? Your cat in their final moments is not afraid of what is coming. What they are focused on completely and entirely is you. The last thing they want to see is your face. The last thing they want to feel is your presence. The last message they want to send with whatever they have left is to you. And that message, carried in a look that cannot be misread by anyone who has ever truly loved a cat, says everything that was never quite said in words across an entire lifetime together. I chose you. From the very beginning to the very last moment, I chose you. And I would choose you again. In every life and in every world and across every possible distance, I would find you and I would choose you. Thank you for being my person. Thank you for every meal and every warm lap and every quiet morning and every time you noticed something was wrong. And every night you let me sleep. On your chest and every slow blink you gave me back and every single moment you chose me too. Thank you for loving me. I felt every single bit of it, every day. Every ordinary beautiful day. That is what is in those eyes. That is what your cat is saying at the very end with everything they have left. And if you have been in that moment, if you have received that look and carried it with you since, I want you to know that you did not imagine what you felt in it. You understood it perfectly. Because your cat was speaking the clearest and most honest language they had ever used with you. And you heard it. Because you were there. Because you were present. Because you were exactly where they needed you to be. At the end, as at the beginning, you were their person. And they were yours, and nothing, not time and not distance and not even death, changes what that meant. What it still means. What it will always mean. Let us bring everything together one final time. Your cat seeks you out more than ever. Because they want to spend every remaining moment with the person who matters most to them. They purr differently because the purr becomes their language for peace and connection when everything else is harder. They look at you differently because they are taking you in completely, being more present with you than they have ever been. They revisit their favorite places because they are moving through the map of their entire life and making peace with every meaningful point. They groom you one last time because they want to spend their remaining energy on an act of love directed entirely at you. They forgive everything because in their final chapter there is simply no room for anything except complete and unconditional love. And they say it with their eyes at the very end because when everything else is gone, love is the last thing that remains. And your face is the last thing they want to see. 7 ways, all saying the same thing. I loved you every day, in every way I knew how. And I am so glad you are my person. If you are watching this and you are grieving a cat you have loved and lost, I hope this video has given you something real. Not closure, because grief does not close, but understanding. The understanding that what you felt in those final days was real, that what your cat was doing was intentional, that all of it meant exactly what you felt it meant. They loved you, all the way to the very end, with everything they had. And if your cat is still with you right now, healthy and happy and completely unaware that this video exists, go find them after this. Sit with them. Notice how they look at you. Feel the weight of them when they settle on your lap. Because every ordinary day with your cat is already a version of everything I just described. Every day they are choosing you. Every day they are saying in all the small quiet ways, I am glad you are my person. Tell me in the comments about a cat you have loved. Their name, one thing you miss, one beautiful memory. I will read every single one, because those cats deserve to be remembered. And so do the people who love them. Share this video with someone who has lost a cat. They need to know that what they experienced was real, that their cat was saying exactly what they felt they were saying. Subscribe so you never miss a video. And until next time, love your cats a little more today. They deserve it. Oh, and so do you, Paw Prince.